I married Lisa, thinking I'd found forever. For 6 years, we lived a life that wasn't flashy, but it felt solid. Steady love, a warm home, and laughter tucked into ordinary days. We had 3 children, including twins who quickly became the heartbeat of our world. Our house sat in a peaceful suburb where the nights were still, and the streets whispered safety. Back then, I believed nothing could touch us. Every evening felt like a soft landing. I'd walk in from work to see the twins giggling in their cribs, our eldest wobbling across the living room with toy cars in hand. Lisa would greet me with a tired joke about baby bottles or laundry, wrapping her arms around me as if it were still year one. Her smile used to make the hallway glow. I didn't see the cracks forming beneath the surface, not until she made one irreversible decision, one that would poison everything we'd built. It wasn't just the act itself, but the secrecy of it. And when betrayal finally surfaced, it was sharp, not slow. A single conversation turned my world on its head. It started with her sister, Sarah, and her husband, Kevin. They'd been trying to conceive for years with no success. Lisa, out of nowhere, decided to be their surrogate. But it wasn't the offer that broke me. It was the silence before it. The fact that she'd already started the process without even telling me. I remember the night she told me. We were side by side on the couch, a muted comedy show flickering in front of us, both pretending to watch. She glanced at her phone, then at me. Her voice was calm, too calm. "Grant," she said, "I've made a decision." Just that tone alone made my stomach turn. Lisa only used it when she was determined to bulldoze through my opinion. I muted the TV. "What kind of decision?" I asked, my mouth already dry. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the same way she did when nervous. "I'm going to carry a baby. For Sarah." My heart stopped. "Come again?" Her eyes didn't flinch. "Sarah and Kevin can't conceive. The doctor said surrogacy might be the answer. And since Sarah and I are genetically identical, I'm an ideal match. I've already contacted the clinic." I stared, numb. "You've already... Are you seriously telling me you're going to carry Kevin's baby?" She exhaled sharply. "It'll be Sarah and Kevin's embryo, not mine. I'm just the vessel. Genetically, it's all theirs." "And when exactly did you decide this?" I asked, my voice rising. Lisa crossed her arms. "I knew you'd flip out. I didn't want to fight. This is something I need to do for Sarah." I was stunned into silence, my jaw clenched. "So, you told Kevin, you told Sarah, but not me, the man you married, the father of your kids, the one who's supposed to matter most." "I told you now," she shot back. "I hoped you'd support me, but even if you don't, it's happening." There was no negotiation in her tone. It was done, and something inside me snapped. "You want me to sit here and watch you carry another man's child? In our home? In front of our kids?" I asked, barely keeping my voice steady. Lisa didn't even blink. "Call it what you want, but I'm doing it. Sarah and Kevin are counting on me. If you loved me, you'd understand that." That was the first time I felt truly cold toward her. Not angry, just frozen. Respect doesn't mean ambushing your partner with life-altering choices, I said. She raised her chin, "And saving my sister matters more than sparing your pride." Those words echoed in my head for days. We didn't speak much after that. She carried on with her plan, as though nothing had changed, as if the wound she'd opened in our marriage was just a paper cut. 2 days later, I came home to find syringes, paperwork, and hormone meds from a fertility clinic spread across our kitchen. Lisa was reading through a thick stack of instructions. "What is all this?" I asked, motioning to the clutter. She glanced up. "The clinic sent everything. I have to start hormone prep for the embryo transfer." I was speechless. "You didn't think this deserved a conversation?" She shrugged. "I already told you. I'm doing it." "You're ignoring everything I feel," I muttered. "You're acting like I don't exist in this." Lisa rolled her eyes. "It's 9 months. I'm not replacing our kids. I'm just helping my sister." "If you do this," I said slowly, "you're choosing them over this marriage, over me." She stood straighter, voice hard. Then maybe this marriage wasn't as solid as I thought. And that was it. The air between us turned to glass, fragile, cold, shatter ready. I started sleeping in the master bedroom alone. Lisa moved to the guest room. Our home shrank into a quiet war zone. We still made dinner. We still got the kids ready for school. But we didn't look at each other, didn't speak unless we had to. She went to her appointments, took her meds, talked to Kevin on the phone in hushed tones, and I stayed behind, quietly breaking, realizing that the woman I married had already chosen a path that left me behind. The following days were a slow bleed. Lisa didn't hide anything. Not her clinic visits, not her medication schedule, not even the updates from Kevin and Sarah. She spoke about the process like she was planning a dinner party. Calm, unbothered, detached. Meanwhile, I was dying in plain sight. One night, I returned home to find a box labeled fertility supplies sitting in the fridge, beside juice boxes and leftover pizza, syringes, pills, instructions scattered across the table. Lisa barely looked up as I entered. "These came earlier than expected," she said, flipping through pamphlets. "I start hormone injections tonight." I stood frozen. "And you didn't think this deserved a real conversation?" "We already talked," she replied coolly. "I'm going ahead. This is happening." "Lisa, you're steamrolling me," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "You're making massive decisions without caring how I feel. You're burning this house down and calling it a renovation." She exhaled loudly. "God, stop being dramatic. I'm helping my sister. Not cheating, not abandoning the kids. Just helping." I clenched my fists. "You keep saying it's for Sarah. But what about us? What about me? If this marriage hinges on one act of compassion, maybe it's not worth saving," she muttered. I stared at her, realizing I was no longer her partner. I was just someone inconvenient, standing in the way of her mission. "If you do this," I said slowly, "I'll file for divorce." She looked at me, blank, almost bored. "Then do what you need to do." The next day, I contacted a lawyer. When Lisa found out, she exploded. "You're really doing this?" she whispered, storming into the hallway, while I helped our oldest with a drawing. "You're throwing everything away?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No, you did that when you made this decision without me." Her voice cracked. "I thought you'd come around. I thought you'd see it as something beautiful." I shook my head. You didn't want understanding. You wanted obedience. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't flinch. She spun on her heel and disappeared upstairs. Legally, we had to remain under the same roof for a year before the divorce could finalize. She refused to move out, claiming health concerns, rest requirements, and the need to keep things stable for the kids. I didn't want to tear our children from their home, so I let her stay. Barely. We split the space like two ghosts. She took the guest room. I kept the master. The kids noticed. They asked questions. We lied gently, pretending things were fine, but tension hung in the air like smoke. Then came the weekend that changed everything. I walked into the living room and found Kevin and Sarah flipping through a baby catalog on our coffee table. As if they owned the place, Lisa was sitting between them, a small swell beginning to show under her shirt. Kevin and Sarah are helping plan, Lisa said lightly. We'll need some supplies here for when I get further along. I blinked. Why would baby items be in this house? Shouldn't they be buying things for their home? Kevin stood awkwardly. Well, we figured it'd be smart to have things here too. While Lisa's pregnant. No, I said. This is my house, not a nursery for someone else's child. Lisa's voice rose. I live here, Grant. You expect me to be uncomfortable in my own home? Then maybe Kevin and Sarah should keep their planning to themselves and in their own damn house. Sarah stepped forward, arms crossed. We're not doing this to annoy you. We're just trying to support Lisa. I shot her a glare. You supported her plenty by roping her into this without telling me. Don't act like this is a noble sacrifice. This is betrayal wrapped in a baby blanket. Kevin cleared his throat. Look, man, we don't want problems. Then stay out of my house, I snapped. Lisa gasped. You can't just ban them. Watch me, I said. You made your choice, Lisa. Now live with the consequences. They stormed out. Lisa called me heartless. I didn't flinch. My only regret was not kicking them out sooner. From then on, things only got worse. Lisa's belly grew. So did her list of complaints. Back pain, vomiting, exhaustion. She started asking me for small things. Crackers, pillows, comfort. I refused every time. You're not carrying my child, I reminded her. Call Kevin or Sarah. She cried, called me cruel, told me I was letting the mother of my children suffer. No, I said, I'm letting Kevin's surrogate suffer. Not my problem. One night, she came to my door. Her voice was small. My legs are cramping. Can you rub them like you used to? I looked her in the eye. No. And I shut the door. The kids noticed. They asked why I didn't hug Mom anymore. I just said, sometimes grown-ups stop getting along. But I love you. Always. Her parents got involved. Her mother left voicemails calling me selfish. Her father phoned, threatening me, telling me I was on a dark path. Young man, he growled, you better support my daughter, or else. I cut him off. Your daughter torched our marriage. Let Kevin support her. I'm out. They hung up. And I smiled. Let the world think I was a villain. I knew the truth. Then came the 7th month. Lisa came home with groceries, arms full, belly heavy. She called out, Grant, can you help me? Please, my back hurts. I opened the door, arms folded. Ask Kevin or Sarah. I'm still your wife, she said. eyes red. "Not in spirit," I replied. "Not for a long time." She nearly dropped the groceries. A can rolled across the porch. I didn't move. Later, she stood in the kitchen, panting, bruised from carrying everything in. "You're punishing me," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm just not rescuing you from the fire you lit." She touched her belly. "You'll regret this one day." I laughed. Bitter. "Not likely. That baby will be gone, and so will you." She flinched and disappeared into the guest room, slamming the door. That night, I lay in bed, still, silent, angry. I wasn't waiting for change anymore. I was waiting for it all to end. It was around midnight when it happened. I was half asleep, the house silent, when I heard a sudden knock at my bedroom door. "Grant," Lisa's voice was strained. "My water just broke. I think the baby's coming." I opened the door. She stood there pale, sweat on her forehead, both hands gripping her swollen belly, panic written all over her face. "I need help." She gasped. "Kevin isn't answering. Sarah's phone is off. Please, Grant. Please." I looked at her, unmoved. "You made this decision without me," I said coldly. "Call an ambulance." Her mouth fell open. You're not serious?" I stepped back. Dead serious. Another contraction hit. She groaned and braced, herself against the wall. I can't do this alone." "Yes, you can," I replied. "You did everything else alone." She stared, lips trembling. "You're heartless." "No," I whispered. "Just done." She collapsed to the hallway floor, fumbling for her phone. 15 minutes later, the red and white glare of ambulance lights lit the windows. Paramedics rushed her out while I stayed in bed, silent. Next morning, my phone blew up. Voicemails from Lisa's mother, furious, screaming about abandonment, accusing me of cruelty. I deleted them all. She stayed in the hospital for several days. The baby, a premature girl, survived. Sarah, recovering from her own health scare, couldn't care for the newborn. Kevin scrambled between both women. Lisa's mother called. "Lisa's coming home with the baby for a while," I said. "Her choice," and hung up. That evening, Lisa walked in carrying a small car seat. Her face was gaunt, her body worn out. The baby was asleep. "They asked me to keep her here," she mumbled. "Just for a few weeks, until Sarah is strong enough." I didn't hide my disgust. "So, now our house is a daycare for their child." She blinked, tears forming. What was I supposed to do? Leave her in the hospital? You should have thought of that before you said yes to carrying someone else's baby without your husband's consent. She rubbed her forehead. "Grant, please don't be like this." "Oh, I'm just getting started," I said. "Don't ask me for help. If that baby cries all night, I won't lift a finger. You brought this here. Handle it." And she did, barely. Every night, the infant cried. Every day, Lisa grew more exhausted. She'd beg me, "Can you please hold her while I shower? Can you warm this bottle? Just 10 minutes of sleep, please." Every time I answered, "No, ask Kevin. Ask your mother." One night, she stood in the hallway, baby in arms, tears running down her face. "I need half an hour," she whispered. "Just half an hour of rest." I stared at her like a stranger. "You wanted independence. You've got it." Lisa's parents came often. still trying to guilt me. You should be ashamed, her mother barked. Lisa needs support, her father growled. I simply said, she didn't need support when she planned this. Why now? The legal process inched forward. My lawyer built the case meticulously. Lisa withdrew joint funds without consent. She signed paperwork using my forged signature. She concealed her plan until it was too late. Lisa's legal team tried to paint me as a cruel man who abandoned his wife in pregnancy. But the judge wasn't moved. The child is not his, she said sternly. The surrogacy was initiated without agreement. There is no spousal support required. Lisa was ordered to repay part of the money she used. I was granted primary custody of our children. Lisa would only get visits, and only if she could prove a safe, stable environment. Kevin and Sarah sat silently in the courtroom, no longer smiling. After the ruling, Lisa caught me in the hallway. Her face was red, eyes puffy from crying. Grant, she whispered, I never wanted it to come to this. I just wanted to help Sarah. I never imagined I'd lose you. I stared. You didn't lose me, Lisa. You gave me away. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Can't you forgive me? I shook my head. You lied. You chose them. You chose this. Now live with it. Sarah tried stepping forward, but I pulled back. You got your baby, I said. Now get out of my life. They had nothing left to say. I walked away, light, free, unburdened. Lisa moved in with her mother. The baby stayed with her until Sarah could recover. Whenever Lisa came for custody exchanges, she looked smaller, like a ghost of the woman I once knew. She'd try to make small talk, ask about the kids. I kept it civil, but distant, always distant. Kevin and Sarah finally took the baby full time, but the fairy tale ended fast. Kevin's hours were cut, bills piled up. Sarah's health didn't improve. Lisa? She was broke, exhausted, and bouncing between part-time jobs. People asked me, don't you feel bad for her? No, I didn't. She made a decision without me. She turned our marriage into a transaction. She betrayed my trust. My kids adjusted. Our home was peaceful. No more whispered arguments. No more baby screams. Just Lego bricks, movie nights, and quiet dinners. One day, my oldest looked up from the floor and asked, do you still love Mommy? I paused. I care about her, I said. She's your mom. But sometimes adults break each other's hearts, and they don't go back. He nodded, returned to his toys. That was that. A year passed. Lisa never fully got back on her feet. Sarah and Kevin struggled too. And me? I got the house. I got the kids. And I got my peace. The people who judged me never saw the full picture. They called me cold, ruthless, bitter. But I wasn't the one who shattered our vows. I just chose not to clean up her mess. That was my revenge. Not screaming, not public shame, just a quiet, ruthless withdrawal. A refusal to save someone who didn't care if I drowned. If that makes me merciless, then mercy was never what she earned.